Hey, it's your aunt. I don't know about you, but growing up, I heard stay out of grown folks' business all the time. I remember, so I have a lot of aunts, and it's crazy because mom doesn't actually have any sisters. So, all of my aunts growing up were just like my mom's really close girlfriends who helped raise me. Basically, they could beat me if they wanted to. And so I have a lot of aunts. I remember my aunts used to come over and they would be in the kitchen with my mom talking. And I love my aunt, so I'll always be in there hee 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 hee. And my mom be all right, get out of grown folks' business, and get out of the kitchen. Um, and so it's crazy, now that I'm a little bit older, I think back to those times and I always wonder why do we say that? Why do we say stay out of grown folks' business? They're talking about we're talking about things that we don't already know. Mind you, after 2 years of therapy, I have learned that at that time I knew a lot more than I thought I did, right? But we're told stay out of grown folks' business. And so I always wonder what would have happened if I had stayed in those rooms? If I had been a fly on the wall in those conversations. You know, would I have made as many stupid mistakes as I made? Yeah. Yeah, because I'm raggedy and a mess. Yes, I probably still would have. But maybe my life experiences, my trauma, just maybe things would have made sense more. Or maybe I wouldn't have had to turn to certain things and certain people for the answers. Some of those things that I'm still unlearning today. I've had to learn a lot of stuff through life experience. And while don't get me wrong, I think that life and experience, they're great teachers, you know. But I learned so much through just bullshit. And there were times I remember where I thought that I was killing it. I thought I was out here doing it. I was grown. Psh, I'm grown. Just out here living my best life, and I was doing things that seemed so good at the time. I really thought it was all right. And there were even times where I didn't think it was all right. I knew I was hurting. I knew I was crumbling. I knew it wasn't okay, but I just wouldn't let anybody know it. And I know I'm not the only person, especially in today's society. I think is with social media, we're subconsciously trained to act like everything is cool. Even when it's not. I use this analogy to talk about it. It's almost like going grocery shopping, right? When you go shopping, or just shopping, period. When you go shopping, you're not thinking about the bags, right? I love Target, so my favorite store is Target. So I don't care. My favorite store is Target. I feel bougie. I feel sexy. I could be in sweatpants and I still feel like the baddest bitch in Target. I love Target. When I'm in there, Target make everything look good, so I be in there. Buying stuff that I don't need. Stuff that I don't need. Just wanting it and swiping. And I'm feeling really good and I love it till I get home. Right? Until I get home and I gotta bring all them bags in the house. And just like with everything else in life, I am strong and wrong. And I'm oh, bet. I got it. And I'm going to get it all in one trip, right? So what you do? What do? I be trying to, stuff this, and I'm all strategic, and I'm putting everything in the right spot. I'm I'm going to put this on my arm, and put this on my head. I'm going to, put this under my arm, and put this on my mouth. I'm literally all right, I am determined to get all these bags in the house on one try. And then like you start going. Mind you, I don't know about y'all. Whenever I lived in an apartment, I live in a house now. When I did live in an apartment, I was always on the third floor, and I hated carrying groceries up to the third floor. But like you're carrying all this stuff, right? And right when you think that you gonna make it, you be like, oh, bet, like I see the door, like it's right there. I'm almost there. Boom, stuff start happening. You know what I'm saying? You get tired. Your arms start to hurt. You got bags slipping. The elevator don't work, or it's not coming fast enough, and you pushing the button. Your pants start falling off. Your handles start popping. Ain't nothing worse than a handle popping on one of your bags. Or actually, the absolute worst thing is when stuff like just start falling out. Okay, I have watched many of things roll down the stairs. I'm like, oops, I ain't getting that. Like, who needs peanut butter? Who needs peanut butter anyway? Let it roll on down the stairs. Hope one of my neighbors get it. Hope they needed it. You know, I'm not going back and go get it, right? You got falling all over the place. And you know, while it's funny in that analogy, the same rules kind of apply to life. I've been the girl, like, you don't think when we out here doing stuff, we out here shopping and everything seems so good because we're having a good time. But we aren't thinking about the baggage that we are collecting and creating along the way. I can't tell you how many relationships, how many decisions I made that in a moment, I'm like, I wasn't thinking about the consequences that, like, some of which I'm still living with today. You know, scars, trauma, hurt, pain, things of baggage, things that we're collecting along the way. And we don't think about it until reality set in, right? Until you're in spaces and moments when you're like, shit, I gotta bring all this inside, huh? Like, dang, I gotta deal with all the stuff. I was out here having fun. I gotta actually in this moment sit and deal with all the crap that I've collected along the way. And then we trying to carry it all, and we're trying to look good while we doing it. You know, I'm a firm believer in that. I remember I used to talk to people, and they would always say things like, "Oh, I never saw you as that kind of person," or I never thought that you would think like that, or that you would say stuff like that." And I'm like, and I would always wonder, like, why do they say that? And then I realized, I'm like, well, dummy, because you act that way. You always acting like everything cool. So how else are they supposed to know that you are secretly hurting and that you are literally dying inside? Because I was. On the outside, I was polished and popular and killing it. And in the inside, I felt like something and someone was killing me. Like I was being stabbed over and over and over again. And so I'm trying to carry these bags and trying to look cute while I'm doing it. And just one day, I said, fuck, F it. I'm really working on my cussing. I really gotta chill. I'm really working on it. I promise I am. I'm working on it. But I was just like, F it. And all the bags that I was trying to carry, your girl just said, let them all fall. I ain't care what rolled where, what landed where. I let it all fall. I was tired. Pretending is tiring. You know, people are like, Tania, you're so authentic. You're so loud because I'm tired. I pretended for years. And I was exhausted. I'm tired. It's too much. Trying to censor myself for you, it's too much. And sorry, it ain't worth it. Cause people gonna talk about you regardless. I have been in situations where I have done exactly what somebody wanted me to do, and they still weren't happy. I didn't say the thought that came to my head. I didn't do what I wanted to do, and they still weren't happy. I'm like, you know what? If you want to not like me regardless, I might as well love me while you don't. Like, and so now I live a life, and I'm gonna say I do it all the time because I still have my moments, but I am authentically me because I got tired. And I always say like that day I will never forget it because it was like the best worst day of my life. It was the worst I ever felt. I had never cried that hard. I'm a crier now, but at the time I wasn't really a crier. Life just has a way of hardening you to where like the only time I had cried was really in the shower. I didn't like crying in front of people. I didn't like crying, period, because crying to me was a weakness. And that day, I promise you, I have never ugly cried so ugly in my life. I was just like, ew, like, ew, like wipe your face. Like I was literally like I was at a low point in my life. And I remember being in so the great thing about God, and like it's crazy because like if you had asked me years ago, would I be talking about God the way that I do now? I probably would have told you no. But one of the greatest things about God is no matter how raggedy we are to Him, and we are raggedy, okay? Even now, I'm raggedy. Like we're just raggedy. No matter how raggedy we treat Him, when we're down and out and we hit those places where we have nobody to go to. Now, I don't know. I mean, you know what? Let me not speak for you. Let me not speak for you. Maybe you've always had somebody to go to with your stuff. Maybe that's been your life. But my life, I ain't always had people to go to and to ask for help and to ask for things. And so for me, when I hit my low point, I didn't know who else to call, but I thank God for my mom because she made a big deal about us having our relationship with God growing up. And so at that time when I hit my low moment, I didn't know what to do but call on Him. And I said to Him, like, mind you, I said to Him, I'm like, listen, if you get me up off this floor, because when I tell y'all, I was not getting up. I was so crushed, so through. I'm just through. I was just too through. And all I knew to do was to call on Him. And I said, like, listen, whatever you want me to do, I promise you, if you get me up off this floor, whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. And He was like, bet. Like, okay, so I don't know how y'all talk to God, but I was raised and I believe that I talk to Him how I like to be yourself. And that's how He's received me, and that's our relationship. So when I talk to Him just like I'm talking to y'all right now. I'm like, listen, like, what we about to do? You like, bet. You know what I'm saying? Before we get to that, like, let's first work on you. And so I went through a season just working on myself. I shut things down. I cut people out. I went off the grid. I wasn't on social media. I wasn't really out and about. I wasn't doing nothing. This is even before the pandemic. So I ain't gonna lie. The pandemic definitely made things a lot harder for me. But I don't know if y'all remember this show. It was on BET. It had Gabrielle Union. It was called Being Mary Jane. Shout out to Gab because I love that show. I was so sad when it got canceled. But in this show, something that she used to do all the time was she would put sticky notes up in her house. And so I was kind of I was in that season. So I watched the show. I was really into it. And so I was in a season of like I was doing a lot of reading and praying and listening to podcasts and just kind of just consuming a lot of information, just really seeking God and seeking like, who am I? And so I started kind of doing like this sticky note journal type thing where I would put like when I was listening to things, if something stood out to me or if a question came along, because I was doing a lot of reflecting at the time. So if a question came along and I didn't have the answer to the question, I would put it on a sticky note and put it on my wall, right? And then I would come back to it every once in a while to see if I knew the answer. And so it was kind of cool because it kind of helped me track my progress and my growth, because there were times where I would have a question. It'd be like, yo, why can't I get this question? And then I would leave it, come back in a month or so. I'd be like, oh, duh, it's this. And so There was one question in particular that to this day was probably one of the most difficult questions I have run across. And it stayed on my wall for months. And it's crazy because I would ask people the question all the time. They'd be like, that's a good question. So it wasn't just me. Everybody was like, this is a hard question. And so I wanted to kind of pose that question to y'all today, just to kind of see what how you were thinking, how you were feeling. Or maybe y'all are different from me, and maybe y'all just know the answer to this question like it ain't nothing. You know? And so here we go. What problem were you created to solve? I'm going to let that sink in a little bit. What problem were you created to solve? Because if you didn't know, you were created on purpose for purpose, okay? I've always believed that. My mom has always instilled that into me, but that you were created on purpose for purpose. There is somebody or somebody's, it's not a word, but it will be today. Don't be raggedy, I don't want to hear it. But there are people out there, there's somebody out there who's waiting on you. And they're not just waiting on you, they're waiting on you to know who you are. They're waiting on you to know how badass you are, how talented you are, how gifted you are, just how anointed and how blessed that you are, so that you can be the answer to their problem. And so when I ran across that question, I was like, yo, why do I not know the answer to that? But I told myself that I would keep it on the wall until I figured it out. I said, God, whatever that is. I said, until I figure it out, I'm going to keep that sticky note on the wall. And I did. Kept it on the wall. And so I kept working. So I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, and a professor. And so I kept doing my work. And so as I'm talking to clients, I'm talking to students, I soon realized, even like with friends and colleagues, I soon realized that I wasn't the only one in this space, this in-between space of not being who I was, but not being who I know I was called to be. Just on this journey of figuring out what the heck am I here to do? And so just to be able to have these conversations and to see that I wasn't the only one was like, all right, that makes sense. And then one day, God just did that thing that he do when he be doing what he be doing. If you know, you know. And the sticky note came down. And the Cool Auntie podcast was born. Like I've been telling my students in class, I feel like the pandemic, while it was very inconvenient and it's been very challenging, and both mentally, physically, emotionally, all of that, it almost felt like if you ever watched TV or a movie with a group of people and like somebody has to go to the bathroom or they have to run to the kitchen or the food comes, something happens and you have to pause it really quick so that everybody can run and do what they got to do and then you can come back and push play. I kind of feel like that's what the pandemic was. It was God like, oh, y'all want to show y'all asses. All right. I'm going to go ahead and pause this real quick. Give you a moment, give you a chance to kind of get your stuff together. And then come back here and do this right. Like a chance to start over, a chance to do it over. I don't know about y'all, but I'm taking that chance, and I've been taking that chance. I'm starting over. I've been starting over. I lost in the pandemic 40 pounds. I've been healing. I've been growing, and let's be clear, it's still happening. It's definitely still happening. I am still a work in progress, but I am committed to this journey to loving and to understanding who I am more and more so that I can be the person that somebody needs. And so I can answer and be the answer to the problem that I was created to solve. And so I don't want to make the mistake that I feel like was made with me in the past, and that I don't want to wait until I get there to tell everybody I made it. I think we live in a world where all we see is finished products, the end result to everything. I'm like, and I'm saying, nah, F that. What I'm saying is that y'all can be a fly. I'm going through this journey, whether y'all are here or not. I'm embarking on this new thing with me. I'm facing fears. I'm looking my bullshit, my past, my trauma in the eye, and I'm dealing with it. And I'm giving people the space to be a fly on the wall. I have made so many mistakes. I've done so many raggedy things. I've just, woo! And if you can learn from something, if something that I share with you could prevent you from making some of the mistakes that I've made, I want that for you. I got a crazy network of other aunties and uncles and people who I can't wait to bring in, and just for you to be a fly on the wall in those conversations. You know, okay, we might learn you a little something. You know, but really just us learning and growing together. You know, what happened to that? Like, what happened to being raised by a village? What happened to people genuinely wanting to see others win? I don't see that no more. I don't experience that no more. But I'm reclaiming all of that. I'm an open book because I am who I need to be for what he's called me to. But more importantly, I'm a work in progress. And I do not apologize for it at all. So we gonna do this. This is the Cool Auntie podcast. I'm not an expert. I ain't no minister. I'm a person who wants to see you win. I genuinely want people to win. I want people to be healthy. I want people to love themselves. I want them to be whole, to be healed, so they can go out and heal and help other people. So we going to do this thing. If you rocking, let's go. Let's go. This is my house. I am opening up my house to you. And I'm saying, listen, I'm your cool aunt. I'm not your mother. I ain't here to tell you what to do. But I might learn you a little something. And we're definitely going to have a blast doing it. Okay? But I'm walking into everything that God is calling me into, and I'm asking y'all, not even asking you, I'm inviting you, not only to be a witness, but to be on this journey with me. Because what he's promised me, he also promised you. Besides, nobody should do life alone. Nobody. Anyway, what time is it? I gotta get y'all cousin to bed. Tomorrow's a school day. I gotta go find them. Anyway, I love you. Call me back.